I'm Jan Halstead. I am the Deacon at Christ Episcopal Church in Cedar Park, Texas.
I'm Carol Monroe. I'm the Outreach Coordinator at Christ Episcopal Church in Cedar Park, Texas.
One of the books that we read early on was called Toxic Charity. And it was a book that talked about how it hurts people just to go in and do these charitable things and just give, because at time it hurts people's pride,
Takes away
their dignity. And so by working with people, that preserves dignity, because we're not, again, coming in as this great benefactor.
Giving you a gift.
No,
We're helping you.
We're working with you. What we wanted to do is to move people from just giving things into going out and giving of themselves, of sharing the talent that they had, sharing their time. And so looking for something that people would want to do. So if you pair up the need for housing with an attractive project like Habitat for Humanity, people understand that. And as Carol said, that one day thing of, would you like to come do this? That's kind of how that got started. It was our first step into serving in the community.
We have partnerships with social service agencies, with different groups within Williamson County, with Hill Country Community Ministries, which runs food pantries and thrift stores and a bunch of other. I guess, well, Habitat for Humanity has a couple of retail stores now in this area where they sell excess goods, things that are donated that they don't need, or things that they pull out of houses that are being rehabbed. And I think we have some people who actually volunteer there.
Habitat for Humanity is a nonprofit organization that constructs houses for people who cannot afford to get into a house in another way. The expectation of the people who are purchasing the house is that they will work not only on their house, but on some previous houses and houses after that. The majority of the work that is done by volunteers. They do have money that they pay some professionals.
Occasional contractors they bring in with to vet electrical work and plumbing, that sort of thing. Stuff that has to be inspected and signed off.
Right. But even when they have professional contractors there, they rely a lot on volunteers to come in and to actually do the labor, do the work, so that they can build these affordable houses for people who would not be able to own a house in any other way.
They have corporate sponsors. Habitat for Humanity has a lot of corporate sponsors and they have a threshold for donation. So people are donating goods at a certain level to become a corporate sponsor, so that they get lumber and they get appliances and they get heating equipment and that sort of thing, so that the mortgage that you pay, the family pays, is a very small percentage of the actual value of the house.
Right.
Maybe 10%.
And one of the expectations before your application is approved, I believe, this is the way it was when we were working with them, is that the people who are making application have to participate in working on some other houses. And then they have to spend, the buyers, the people who will own this house, have to spend so many hours working on their own house, so that they've got that energy and that equity, sweat equity in it also.
You apply and you work, you help build somebody else's house, and then you help build your own house. The day that we were there, the family, I know the mom was there. I don't remember, at least one kid was there. And they worked alongside our crew.
Yes.
One of the things that really brought Habitat for Humanity to the forefront of people's thinking, I think, is Jimmy Carter. who was president, back in the 70s, 76. And he and his wife have worked on habitat houses from the time he stopped being president. They are regulars.
Oh, wow.
And they're still doing it, as far as I know.
Yes.
The man is 90-something years old
Right.
and is still doing it. And I think that really kind of awakened the American public to this as a possibility.
Oh, I see.
And it raised their profile enormously and made it so that now I think they have more people wanting to participate than they have opportunities.
They have a presence in Williamson County.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
And because that area is in Williamson County, and because that neighborhood was in the Leander Cedar Park area, it was like, this is very close to home.
Right.
So it was a way that people could see what they were doing was impacting somebody where they drove past that house
Right.
every day.
Right.
They could see that. So there was that personal investment into the community.
I guess, well, Habitat for Humanity has a couple of retail stores now in this area where they sell excess goods, things that are donated that they don't need,
Right.
or things that they pull out of houses that are being rehabbed. And I think we have some people who actually volunteer
Oh,
there.
okay.
And I don't know if you know the history of that house,
No.
but a few years before there were wildfires that came through central Texas and burned a lot of houses. That was a neighborhood where there was a fire that went through and those houses had been burned, and they were just sitting there as empty lots, as maybe just a slab. And so there were some houses still standing, and so within that neighborhood, here you have these houses that are kind of crumbly and partially burned or all the way burned. When Habitat came in, they bought up those lots and that. So not only did it help that family, but it also helped that entire neighborhood.
Lift the community back up.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Yes. On that particular house, we worked one day. We did follow-up.
Okay.
We did other houses. We went to work in Georgetown on a house that was a rehab house.
Oh.
The house was there, but it needed to be refurbished before somebody could move into it. And so it was a women's work day.
Oh, I see.
And so a group of women from Christchurch went over and worked on that house for that day.
And the completion of
Oh my
project,
goodness, that dedication day was so amazing, because there was husband and wife and two little boys, younger boys, and their whole family showed up for the dedication. There were many of us from the church who showed up, but I remember that day and just the pride that I wish I could remember their names, but the lady and the gentleman, there was such pride that they had in this house of welcoming
Right.
people in and having the hospitality for people coming into their home. And the little boys in their rooms, they were just so proud of having their own space that they didn't have to share with anybody.
Right.
And they had like beds and things like that.
The idea of having a home of your own is a really powerful thing to give someone, because it's the road to building wealth, to generational wealth,
Exactly, yeah.
out of generational poverty, is home ownership.
The family that we had, both people were working. In fact, the father of the family was working 2 jobs, and they were working as absolutely hard as they could,
Right.
doing everything that they could do, and they just needed a hand
Exactly.
to step in. They didn't need anybody to give
They
them.
didn't need a hand out, they needed a hand up.
Right,
And without this program, it would have been out of reach for them.
right.